Hi everyone, in today's video I have another story for you all. The Smiling Man, complete story parts 1 to 5. It started with a smile. Tom lived alone in a small apartment downtown. One night, as he walked home from work, he noticed a man standing under a flickering streetlight. The man was dressed in an old tattered suit, his face locked in an unnatural wide grin that stretched too far across his cheeks. His eyes were unblinking, fixed directly on Tom. Feeling uneasy, Tom hurried past, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He glanced over his shoulder, the man was closer. Tom's heart pounded as he picked up his pace, finally reaching his building. He locked the door behind him and pressed his back against it, breathing heavily. Just a weirdo, he told himself. Later that night, as he sat watching TV, his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "I like your smile." Chills ran down his spine. He hadn't smiled. Slowly he turned to the darkened window. There, standing outside on the street, was the same man, smiling. But now, his mouth was open wider, unnaturally wide, showing rows of yellow teeth. Tom shut the blinds and backed away, his pulse racing. He checked the locks on all the doors and windows. Safe. He tried to sleep, but the feeling of eyes on him wouldn't fade. At 3 a.m. a soft tapping sound echoed through his apartment. Tap, tap, tap. It was coming from inside the closet. Trembling, Tom approached and slowly opened the door. Nothing, just his clothes swaying gently. He let out a breath. "Get a grip," he muttered. Then his phone buzzed again. Another message. "I'm inside." The closet door slammed shut on its own. Tom bolted out of his apartment, running down the empty streets, his breath ragged and desperate. He reached the police station and burst in, explaining everything. They followed him back to his apartment, but when they searched, it was empty. No messages, no man, just Tom, pale and trembling. The officers left after reassuring him it was just stress, maybe too much late-night TV, but as they shut the door, Tom heard it again. Tap, 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 from inside the walls this time. The next morning the landlord found Tom's apartment completely empty, except for a mirror in the center of the room. And in the mirror was Tom's reflection standing there, smiling. Detective Harris was assigned to the case. He didn't believe in ghosts or curses, but something about the mirror disturbed him. Late at night he sat at his desk staring at it. At first everything seemed normal, but then his reflection blinked. He hadn't. Harris froze. Slowly the reflection's grin widened, far beyond human limits. Its black eyes bored into him. His phone buzzed. "I see you, Harris, I like your smile." Cold fear crept up his spine. He covered the mirror with a cloth, locked his office, and went home. But that night, as he lay in bed, he heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Coming from the closet. The next day, Harris didn't show up for work. When officers searched his office, they found the mirror, uncovered, and in the reflection, Harris was trapped inside, his face locked in a silent scream. Behind him something moved, smiling. The police department sealed the mirror in the evidence room, where it gathered dust. Officers swore they heard whispers in the hallways. One night, Officer Mitchell decided to end the mystery. He entered the evidence room alone. The tapping sound echoed louder as he approached the mirror. When he uncovered it, his reflection didn't move. Instead, it smiled. Mitchell stumbled back. The reflection's grin grew wider, black veins spreading across its face. And then, a hand burst through the glass. Mitchell's screams were cut short. The next morning, he was gone. But his reflection remained, forever trapped in the mirror's twisted world. Sergeant Davis, a hardened skeptic, had enough. He stormed into the evidence room, gun in hand, and uncovered the mirror. His reflection grinned at him, whispering, "Let me in." Davis fired at the glass, but the bullets passed through. The smiling man stepped forward, its hollow eyes locked onto him. Davis's screams echoed through the department that night. The next morning the mirror was intact. Davis was nowhere to be found. And if you looked closely, you could see him inside, still smiling. Officer Lisa Carter knew it had to end. Steeling her nerves, she entered the evidence room with a hammer. The smiling man's face leered from inside the glass, whispering, "I've been waiting." Lisa didn't hesitate. She swung the hammer with all her strength. The mirror shattered, screams filling the air as shattered faces. Harris, Mitchell, Davis, flickered into the darkness before vanishing forever. Lisa collapsed in relief. It was over, or so she thought. Days later, as she drifted to sleep, she heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. Because some mirrors never really break. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Peace.